Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks a third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown 49ers. 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle. Sweeps down the sideline. Throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good. Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell, intercepted! The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption! Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown! No greater redemption!
The San Francisco 49ers, we can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boys, Mike and Tony, and we are back to bring you guys a fun-filled episode. Oh, man, this is long overdue, man. You guys know I really enjoy doing these shows with Tony. Tony, man, what's going on with you? How you feeling over there?
Good, man. What's going on with you?
Man, I'm energized. Tony, man, I kind of went through some stuff, man. I hadn't done a show on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night in so long, man. It feels good to get back into the groove of things and how we used to do them over here at Nothing But Niners. But guys, man, I'm back, and not just for the postseason run, not just because we won a playoff game, but because I feel like it. And that's the best time to do something. So we're going to have some fun here. I'm going to run through these formalities really quick, and we're going to get down to the meat and potatoes of everything. All right. Scrolling across the bottom of the screen, it's going to be your first instructions for the night. Okay. If it's your first time here on the YouTube page and you enjoyed the show, please give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button. It means a lot. It helps with the ratings and the reviews. It also helps people find us. All right. Then subscribe to the channel and then turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we are going live. All right. You're not going to miss anything. I promise you. Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. We're going to start with Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. Those handles are Nothing But 9. That is the number 9. Nothing But 9. ERS. And then there is also Facebook and Twitch. Those handles are Nothing But Niners. We are live right now on Facebook. We are live right now on YouTube. We are live right now on Twitch. I could go live on Instagram, but I don't know how the community feels about long shows. Plus, they clip us at an hour, so when it gets cut off, people get upset. I didn't touch it. I'm not going to touch it tonight. I'm going to leave it alone, but we can do shows now live on Facebook. But then there's the biggest, baddest, Nothing But Niners community of them all, and that is the Patreonians over there. My people over there in the Patreon community. Y'all are A+. Give yourselves a round of applause, people. Let's go. My good, beautiful people over there at patreon.com/NB9ERS. That is the place to be. That is where all the live game action goes down. That is where bonus content comes out. Extra podcasts about other things non-49ers related. It all happens over there at the Patreon community. Do not be the last person to join, okay? There is quality content all season long, ebbs and flows of it, but it is still there all season long, guys. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. All right, that's going to do it for those, all the plugging and stuff like that. I'm your host with the most. You guys can find me on Twitter. My handle is Mike Andrews83. And my guy, Tony, I don't know if he has his actual name in there today or if he just has okay, he's just Tony. He's just Tony. I'm not going to plug a social media page, man. Tony,
Yeah,
the dust is settled, man. The game is over. Just tell me how you felt about everything. I want you to be completely honest. I know we did the overreaction show and all that stuff, but I went back and I watched some of the game, man, and I was like, yo, I can't figure out why we look the way we look sometimes. Like, was 19 days off just too much time?
it looked like it. It really looked like it in that game. They have a good track record coming off the bye during the week in the regular season. Coming off the bye week during the regular season. But that's only what 9 days, 8 days, 9 days, I think 8 days. for the bye week
Yeah.
in the
I mean, if you're
regular
lucky,
season.
you get a full 7 if you're lucky. I mean, oh no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you get a full 13. If you have off on the 1st, you don't play on the 8th, you play again on the 15th. So you get like 14 days off if on a regular bye week.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly you saw they were not the same team, and watching it again, they can't. It looks like they were just like totally flat. There's no, there was no like emotion on the offensive side of the ball. Now, could that be because Debo was out after the 9th play? Could be, but they just didn't. It didn't seem like they hit their stride.
Yeah, I wonder how deflated the team actually got when I wonder how deflated the team actually got when Debo got hurt. And it was relatively early, right? The first thing was he lost his shoe. And I remember, like, you were on the live with me. Oh shit, Debo's hurt
Yeah.
already. 1 carry, he's already hurt. Like, here we go. And they zoom in on his foot, and I'm like, yeah, we dodged a bullet. He's fine.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, no, he's not.
Bless you.
Sorry. Excuse me. Thank you. Do you think that perhaps that was an emotional, what's the opposite of a spark? Like an emotional damper, maybe?
I mean, it could have been, but I mean, I think some of the guys saw before, obviously the camera scoped on him, saw that he was like, his shoe was half off his foot. But I mean, listen, I just feel like, as much as they talked and stuff like that, they're ready. That was not the same San Francisco 49ers that we're used to seeing.
Sure.
That's my opinion.
And it's not just like an opinion. I mean, Tony, we saw uncharacteristic throws from the quarterback. We saw uncharacteristic drops from his targets.
Yeah.
We saw confusion with the motions multiple times throughout the game. That's not like the Niners like pride themselves on like being the motion kings, right? Like this is what we do. We do this to confuse them, not the other way around. And the people that was like confused, like it was like the normal backup tight end, wasn't like it was, someone who hasn't been playing or anything. Like it was just weird stuff going on. Then on the defensive side of the ball, missed tackles. I wish I could say it was uncharacteristic of us to get a penalty, a pass interference or 2 in the game. But the truth is it's not. It's really not,
And even like the footing, like they were just sliding all over. It was just crazy. It just didn't look like, and they've played in the rain before, and I've never seen that part of it, like the sliding and the slipping and that part of the game that we saw this weekend. But I don't know. It just, more and more after I watched it, I just kind of feel like that game's done. They won, and it's behind them. Now let's see what, the rust is off. Let's see what they do.
So Logan Ryan had this like little slip and fall thing in the end zone. And early in the game, Tony, they even showed like this aerial view of like all these different cleats just lined up on the sideline. Remember they showed all the different shoes? Like, what? Honestly, was it? I hate when the Niners win a game and then the national media or that team's media will make it sound like that team beat themselves. Like, it's not like, oh, the Niners were just a better team or good that day. They talk about how this team like kept hurting themselves. But when I watched this game, I feel, and I know we won, I feel like it was only close because we were beating ourselves. The pass interference on 3rd and forever, 40 yards. By the way, I said it earlier, longest of the postseason so far. You know what I'm saying? Like that's nuts, right? So, or not the postseason of division round weekend. I'm sorry. That would have been the longest completion of the whole weekend, right? You don't expect it on 3rd and forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the one time they're like, hey, no PI, give them too much space instead of not enough type of thing. I don't know, like just I can't say beat ourselves. Were we beating ourselves? How's that? Or was it that we ran into a good team? Maybe a combination of both.
I mean, the Packers were a good team. There's no doubt about it. They're a young up and coming team. I just feel that I think the Niners weren't there. They were there physically, but I don't think they were there mentally. And I'm not going to say they overlooked the Packers, but I'm just saying that they just weren't
locked in.
They were a mess, Mike. It just comes down to that. What's the matter?
Now, when I stop and I look at this game, man, I feel like it's a possibility, and this is going to sound blasphemous. This is what I really need Tony here for. Like, this is something that, when I say this, Tony's probably going to get upset with me. But between the 19 days, the time off, now I get it. Not everyone had 19 days. It was like 4 of our players that had the full time off, but still, everyone else was rotational at best. Then there was the rain. And I look at a lot of what we did as self-inflicted. That tells me that it's a reflection on coaching. Is it possible that for just 55 minutes of this game, maybe 54, because we got the ball with like 6 minutes, then they got the ball back with a minute. So I was right, 55. Maybe, just maybe, for 55 minutes of this game, Kyle Shanahan was getting out-coached. Like, was Kyle Shanahan so bad in his play calling and decision making that is it possible Kyle was being saved by the talent on his team?
It could be. It could be that the talent bailed him out. But, I noticed, like, the whole game, like, it wasn't a good game for them, period.
Yeah.
You saw the effect of Debo not being in the game, then the whole thing with the different wristbands and the wrong play was called with the wrong package, with the wrong personnel in there, with Jennings in the backfield and takes a handoff for a play that's clearly designed for Debo, not Jennings. But it just seems like that team in total was not there. But, and this is a big but, when it came down to crunch time,
like a Melissa ass.
When it came down to crunch time, they did what they needed to do to win that game. So that's the part that's like really like confusing me, right?
Well, and that's why I said, like, did Kyle just flat out get out coached for 55 minutes? Like, did it take him that long to adjust to the absence of Debo? Did it take them that long to adjust to the weather, right? Like, I mean, they showed the zoom in thing of Brock Purdy in the middle of his drop back, drying his hand off on his side, not even on a towel. You didn't have a towel on your quarterback. He went from glove to no glove, no towel on the quarterback. They sincerely didn't care about the rain. Not saying that I want a new coach. I'm saying that a lot of this feels like coaching preventable things that we could have done. The inadequate cleats. This is all part of the preparation for the game. No?
Well, the cleat part of it is player preference. Because the screw-in cleats, I could tell you from wearing them and playing, they're not a comfortable cleat to play in. Compared to like the molded bottom where they're already attached to the base of the sole, the bottom of the shoe. They're not like, you get the socket thing and pull them out and put them in. The ones that you have to unscrew and screw back in, they're a little bit uncomfortable cleats. So it might be player preference that they feel, let me just stick with these. They're more comfortable. It could be that as far as that aspect of it. But, I mean, listen, pros switch their cleats in the game in and game out in bad weather. That's a minute problem. That's not like a big problem. As far as, it seems like it's an ongoing thing, right? With if Debo goes down, this offense just like staggers or like it's not itself, right? So with that being said, and I said this in our group chat, is this really on Kyle, or is this the position coach failing to prepare the wide receivers behind Ayuk, Samuel, and Jennings? Do we have to start really looking at what is his name? Leonard Hankerson. Do we have to really start looking at him? Is he prepping the guys, the 4, 5, and 6 guys, and the practice squad guys that they bring up? So, and the one knock, and I'm a huge Kyle fan. I think Kyle's the best thing that ever happened to this team, this organization, as far as football, from my memory, as far as a head coach and knowledge from the head coaching position. But why is it consistently, my gripe would be, why is it consistently forcing the Debo plays without the Debo player? Like, I don't give a shit what people say. Like, McLeod's not that player. Can he take a reverse? Sure, I'll give you that. Can Ronnie Bell take a reverse? Sure, I'll give you that. But it's a simple reverse. It's not the jet sweep. It's not this. It's not that. These are smaller frame guys. They're not built to be like that wide back roll like Debo is. They don't have they don't run with the toughness. They don't have the speed of Debo Sanders when he gets that ball in his hand. So, is it a little bit on Kyle? Yes, but is it maybe their personnel groupings behind the starters? Is it a situation where they need to add a second type of Debo wide receiver to the depth chart as the wide receivers in case something like this happens? Sure. But, I just feel it was horrible for 55 minutes that game. 52 minutes, we'll say. It was horrible. There was nothing the defensive line, the secondary, they were slipping. Like, it's I don't know. It's just a bad game. But to come out and win, it just shows you the type of team that they are.
Right. No, that's a very good point. I was listening to a Forrester presser prior to the game, and he briefly mentioned what Debo does for the run game. And he said, well, I don't get as much time with Debo, but I do get to spend some time with him because he's in the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
Forrester's also not just our offensive line coach. Some people might not know it. He's also our run game coordinator.
Yeah.
So he does work with Debo sometimes. My thing is, if Debo barely gets in there, how many times this season do you think Jawan Jennings got in there?
He don't, but Jawan Jennings shouldn't have been in the backfield on that play. Honestly
think, buy what Kyle said?
Huh?
Do you buy what Kyle said as to why he was back there?
I do. I do a little bit.
He didn't know the personnel was out there.
I don't think you're going to hand the ball to a 4-7 wide receiver. I don't think any coach in this league would do that. I don't.
So, okay. All right.
I honestly think there is multiple bans on Brock Purdy's for personnel groupings, right? Maybe not he's wearing them at the same time, but when Debo went down, maybe that next series he came out and switched the wristband. And then those are the plays for the personnel groupings, because it's all about, from what I'm getting, is Kyle's play call sheet is based off of personnel groupings.
Yes, a call sheet is going to be based off of personnel, but the wristband is for the duration of a drive, and personnel is changing all the time.
Well, personnel groupings also, he could have a thing, because if you notice, once Debo went out, they stopped with their motions. So what they did was they took the band off and gave him the band for without Debo and said, listen, go this. But maybe when Kyle called that play, I don't know. But I could tell you this, there's no way in hell Kyle will call that with Jawan Jennings. How do you call a play with a 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver?
I think he's 6'5". Like, he's the tallest receiver on the team, easily.
And he's not the fastest.
He's one of the slowest. He might be the slowest wide receiver on the field. And Jawan Jennings is good. This is not Jawan Jennings hate. We don't understand why he was put in the position he was put in, is what we're getting
now.
At.
By all means, you want to start him in the backfield and motion him out, that's fine. I don't care about that. But to align him in the backfield and take a handoff clearly on a play design that we've seen Debo run multiple times, that's definitely error.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I don't know if it was like the emotions of the game. Maybe Kyle hadn't coached a game in so long he had to settle down also. Like, coaches also need to get back into the rhythm of things as well. We've seen that happen. We call it second half adjustments, right? Like, they got to get into a rhythm once the script is done. Now they got to get into their rhythm of what their offense is doing well, what they're not doing well, and then adjust on the fly. So maybe Kyle also had a little bit too much time off from calling plays, Do you think Kyle plays Madden?
No. He's too psycho to play Madden. Because you only
Speaking
control
of
one.
psycho-
You only control one player, and the computer controls everybody else.
Speaking of psycho, there's one play. I don't know if you saw it. Maybe it was posted in our group chat. I don't remember. Kyle is going completely apeshit on the sideline.
Yeah, that was the pass to McLeod.
I've never seen Kyle jumping with both arms in the air, head down, like just completely losing it, right?
Yeah.
That's the same play that we saw Brock Purdy yell at a wide receiver, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
Okay, Tony, I'm not a coach. Never been a coach. Technically, I've never been a coach. So, if a defender falls down and you are free, what are you supposed to do? You don't continue your route, do you? Or like break this down for me. Help me here.
So you're saying in the beginning of his route, the ball snaps, he makes his break off the line of scrimmage, makes a move, and then as he makes his move to go forward and like vertical, the defender slips.
Now they expected Kyle and Purdy expected him to cut in, but the defender was already down. I think that the cut in, so he starts, he goes vertical, the defender falls. He's supposed to cut in, but the defender was already down. I think the cut in was where he was supposed to create separation, but the defender was already down. Now I only know that because on the sideline, when they came back from commercial break, they showed McLeod saying he fell down. As then, if your guy falls, is there a trigger? Is it like a hot read? Oh, he fell. I'm open now. You throw it here. Is that possible? I'm not saying is that what we was taught to do. I'm asking, is that possible?
I would say that if we didn't have a quarterback that makes anticipatory throws. If he's a guy that sits there and just rips it to your center of your chest, I'd be like, okay, he would have to hold it, make the eye contact, let him sit, and then rip it. But the way Brock throws is it's timing, and he throws with anticipation. So it's kind of hard to project that. So the mindset that he has is he knows on this step when he hitches off that back foot, he's thrown to that spot, and that's where the receiver's supposed to break. So, maybe they're coached in a situation like that. Just continue with your route and just get to that point. Like go and then break, and the ball will be there. So, I mean, I don't know. I never had. I'm not a quarterback that throws with anticipation. I'm more of a just lay it on you. I mean, I'll throw it on you a little ahead of you, but to the way he does it, that's crazy.
Because we've also seen multiple times this season and last season with Brock in there in particular, when there's a busted coverage and someone's wide open, he throws to the spot that the person's at, where they actually stop and catch the ball, right? They don't keep running their route and make him throw a bomb. It's like, oh, he's wide open. We remember Debo down the right sideline. We saw Kittle, 3 games ago, maybe? Wide open down the sideline, and boom, he hits him, and then someone made one person, I think it was Kittle, made a miss, and it ended up being a touchdown, right? I don't think they're supposed to always finish their route, is what I'm saying. You're supposed to read the field, and like another good thing that Brock does, yes, he does throw with anticipation, but he's not only an anticipation guy. He goes through his reads quickly. He looks left, right, left, right. So he's expected to see, oh man, he's wide open. There's no one on him. Throw it to him also. I'm just wondering, not that I'm giving McLeod any kind of clearance. Maybe he does deserve a little bit of leniency. I know a lot of people are hating on him. And I don't know how much I saw McLeod back out there. He definitely wasn't targeted anymore.
But besides their top 3, they need to work on the receiver. I fully expect them taking the receiver pretty decently, a decent round this year in the draft, or adding somebody in free agency. They got to add to that depth chart. Also, the majority, just real quick on your anticipation throws, are usually in breaking routes, crossing routes. They're not sideline route. I mean, they could be a sideline route, but they're not like vertical routes. They're not deep designs. They're mainly in breaking routes that are going to be thrown with anticipation, because you can't anticipate the depth of a route on a vertical route. So what you could do is you could anticipate an in breaking route to say, all right, if he's on the numbers, in my head, I'm going to count the two Mississippi and rip it to the hash, to the left hash. and there he goes. He's going to come right across, and he'll hit that ball. When it hits that hash at that depth, that's what the receiver is going to be at that point. Which is, I got to be honest with you, with players on the field, it's hard to do that with just T-shirts and shorts with nobody defending.
Right.
So that's hard to do. That takes a lot of like timing and work and practice and ability to do that. But he's definitely in anticipation in the middle of the field, not on nothing else.
Yeah. And most of the throws also happen at the end of a drop. Like Brock was flat-footed and then reading at that point. So it's very interesting to see, how it all played out. But they made their adjustments, and thank God we actually ended up winning that game. I want to talk about the defensive line really quick before we get to the final drive. The defensive line, all right. And this has been something that people have been saying all year long. I want to get your opinion on it. Has the defensive line been overrated this season? And this is a very tricky question. Let me give you, so I don't want you to feel like I'm leading you or setting you up. Let me give you my answer, and then you can, give me yours afterwards. I thought about this long and hard, and I was like, yeah, man, this defensive line is overrated, man. We don't get enough sacks. We get tons of pressure, but we don't get enough sacks. And we move guys all the time. Quarterbacks are constantly moving with the 49ers, right? But throughout the entire course of the year, the defensive line has been pretty consistent. I'm not saying that they've been good or, that this world-beating defensive line where we get home with 4 all the time and all that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the defensive line has been pretty consistent all year long. When they're what they struggle against is what they struggle against all year long. What they're really good against, they're really good against all year long. So it's hard for me to say that, this is an overrated defensive line. I don't know if I can say that and say it with a straight face. I don't think they're over. I think they're rated just where they are. It's a good defensive line, and they're fundamentally sound for the most part. But what they're weak against is what they're weak against. Their players, I think they know their personnel, who's good against the run, who's not good against the run. What do you think? Is our defensive line overrated?
I'm not going to say it's overrated, but I just feel number one, on the inside, I think they're missing a DJ Jones type defensive tackle. I definitely think they're missing that stout fire hydrant. Like, you can't move this guy, and he's just going to be there, just clogging up the holes on the A gaps or B gaps, wherever he's aligned. And he's going to be a tough guy to move out of that spot. That's one thing. Number two, I think we all banked on Eric Armstead way too much in this game. Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's rested. But you know what? He's nowhere near in football shape. I don't care what he does in practice and the walkthroughs. He's not in football shape. Playing football and working out are two different things. And I can tell you from somebody who has plantar fasciitis, who had it, he's not 100%. No, there's no way in hell he's 100%. So what does that do? You're tying up a roster spot. He's playing. He had a couple good reps, yes. He was huge on that quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. Great play. But as far as the other snaps, I just feel he's not the player we were all hoping he would be coming back in this game. My biggest thing, and the thing what Eric Armstead, he's a playoff guy. Like, I'm watching him right now. You had Givens, Hassan Ridgeway. You had Hargrave and Bosa fly off the line before Eric Armstead even got out of his stance. That's not good.
But he's been doing that all year. That has been Eric Armstead all year. He is always the last defensive lineman out of the stance. Always. You go back to week 1, any week you want, he's always the last guy off the line. Always.
And that's my opinion. That's not what you want. In the scheme that they're playing, they play to run to the quarterback, and you're the last guy off the snap. That's something which you don't want, because you're allowing the offensive lineman to get out of their stance and get a hand on you. You want to beat them to the punch as a defensive tackle in the wide 9 alignment. So with that being said, I just think that's an issue. And as far as the unit, like, the Niners signed like pieces here, and pieces here, right? You have like the Jawan Jennings when he was out, the offense took a step back, right? Blocking on the edge, converting on third down, stuff like that. Well, guess what? Now that he's not here, Cleveland Farrell was a hell of a defensive end for this team in setting the edge and stuff like that, and playing the defensive end position, applying pressure. But most importantly, he was one hell of a run defender on base downs. So that's two pieces that, that aren't big names, but made huge contributions to this team. And you're seeing it without them, or we saw it without them as far as Jennings. But yeah, like, with the injuries, you're putting Kinlaw back in the game for big snaps. And me personally, I don't like my defensive tackles that big. I don't. That's just me personally. But
you just said that, but isn't he this? Are you talking about height?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say DJ Jones is bigger than Kinlaw.
No, I'm saying height.
Okay.
Height.
Now,
I don't like anything over 6'4" for a defensive tackle. That's me.
Is it possible that Armstead, who is the run plug in the middle, now that Jones isn't here, is it possible that he is late on purpose in case it's a run? He can at least slow the guys down coming up the middle, so that way the linebackers can get in there and clean up the tackles that he can't make. Because if he over pursues, if he comes off the line too strong, too powerful, then they're already at the second level. Is it possible? Because it happens too often for me to think that he's not doing what he's being asked to do. Is my hookah bothering you? I saw someone say Mike's hookah smoke is bothering Tony.
No, I just can't get over this cold that I have.
Okay.
But what you're saying is, it sounds like what you're saying is more of a two-gap scheme. When you're when this is a one-gap scheme, when this is a single gap penetrating scheme like the Niners run, he would be assigned to the A gap, and then the linebacker behind him would be assigned to the B gap. So it's designed where he would just pinch the A gap and try to take the defensive lineman with him, and that frees up the B gap for the linebacker, whether it's Greenlaw or Warner, that's sit in the hole, and if there's a run. So, eat some ginger. I hate ginger, bro. Ugh, I hate ginger. But
ginger and local honey, man. I'm telling you. Make some tea, put it in there, bro.
But as far as that, like, I don't know. I just think, and I got to be honest with you, if they come out this week with that type of performance, I think it could be potentially a long day for the Niners, because Detroit, one fully healthy, excellent offensive line,
but
except for one guy. Huh?
They're not fully healthy. They have a center.
I know. I didn't finish.
And they got a guard. I'm sorry.
I didn't finish. So when that offensive line is fully healthy, it's an excellent offensive line minus one person, and that's Decker. But as good as that offensive line is, it covers up for Decker's weakness, meaning him being the weakest link of that offensive line. So this week they're playing without Jackson. They're starting, I think, left guard. The guy that they put in to replace him when he got injured struggled big time versus Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a positive. So now that tells me something. And you have Rangel, their center, who's an excellent center. He's banged up with a knee and ankle.
On the same leg, by the way. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. So that tells me this. If those two guys in the middle don't eat this week, there's a problem.
Let's go. Oh, that's what I want to hear.
I mean, you're playing with your backup. You're playing with an injured center. Those two inside guys have to step up. This week, the defensive line has to step up. Even if they don't get sacks, you have to hit Goff. Because the minute you start hitting him is when he starts getting rattled. And when he gets rattled, we all know what happens. We played him twice a year for years in the NFC West.
Yeah.
So but I will tell you the flip of it. If they don't get home, he will pick you apart back there. And if he's untouched with no pressure. So with that being said, I think the two guys in the middle, they have to step up. They have to get pressure in front of him and make him move, and make those guys on the outside, make him go to a side and fall into those outside rushers, or vice versa. Let those outside guys pin up, Let him step up into the pressure from the defensive tackles. But Bosa, I think, is the only defensive lineman right now that's playing like legit on a high level. I mean, yeah, he got clipped a couple times on a crackback block. It happens. You know, you got to be more aware of that. When someone's in a flex position off the tight end as a wide receiver standing up in 2-point stance, you got to say to yourself, alert, why is this guy here? Why is he here? Is he going to clip me and try to pinch me in and get to the edge to prevent me from setting the edge? So you got to be a little bit more aware of that. But my guy I'm looking at is Chase Young. He needs to do more. Chase Young ran himself out of plays. He needs to show that he could set that edge on that side. He needs to get pressure off that side. And I just don't know what it is. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if the injury that he had previously is lingering, if he's not 100%. But he doesn't look like that edge rusher that we saw in Washington before we traded from him. He was having a very good year in Washington.
He was having a good year in Washington. I can't take that away. And he was playing a lot more snaps. Is it possible he's the kind of guy that needs more reps? We do a heavy rotation. The numbers came in. He was over 70% of their defensive snaps. He's not getting close to that here. He's barely getting 40% of the reps here. So do you think that has something to do with it? Is he a guy that needs more opportunity to ramp up and go? And we've seen guys.
They got to do something with him, though. They got to be more consistent up front, because I'm not even talking about this week. If they go to the Super Bowl versus Baltimore or Kansas City, and they rush like that, I don't know. I don't know.
It's so interesting. I think I like. Oh man, this is gonna sound crazy. I like the rush not getting home too early against guys like Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in particular, because it allows the secondary to see things clearly, and it forces them to not step up and run as much.
Well,
and I think
Mahomes, I don't have a problem with versus Mahomes, because they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. Their receivers are more bigger, physical guys. They could run, but they don't have that elite speed, right? Their fastest wide receiver right now, I think, is the kid Rice, and he's like a 4.5, borderline high 4.4, high 4.5, a low 4.5.
Rookie. Yeah.
So, I mean, with that being said, I'm more worried. I want to see them put pressure on Goff, because we know Goff is going nowhere. Goff is zero threat to run. I mean, he'll try, but that's like the last ditch effort to make a play. He's going to look to get rid of the ball. He's going to look to try to, scramble to the right, maybe a little bit, extend it, and try to make a rip one down the field.
Yeah.
But I don't see him as a threat to actually shit. If we don't box him in, he's going.
Right. Okay. All right. I like that as well. I want to change this topic now here. Do you have any concerns with Jake Moody? Now, Jake Moody was one of two. All right. He missed his first field goal attempt. He made all of his extra points. Are you concerned with Jake Moody? Now, the one that was blocked, you and I have had a conversation. Let's make the people privy of what we said. I think the kick was fine. It just happened to be blocked. You have a different opinion. What was your take on it?
I think it was low, and I think if it wasn't blocked, it was going wide left. If you watch it from behind, the trajectory immediately goes left before it was hit. Obviously, once it would hit, it totally changed the trajectory. But when he kicked it and it went up, you saw it hooking left already, and that's not good. There's no wind there. There was no wind there to be hooking a ball left and expecting the wind blow it to back right. Me, and I was listening to, I forgot who it was on a podcast today. The individual said, listen, with the league, with kickers today, if your team doesn't have Justin Tucker, you can't be confident in any of these guys. And I agree with that.
And even Justin Tucker's missed some this year. So
yeah,
that's saying something.
But I mean, he's the most probably like if you put a gun to my head to kick a field goal right now with who's in the league, I'm putting Tucker on the field to win a Super Bowl. If I had a choice. I mean, listen, if it's a situation where you have 2 seconds left and you're on the 42-yard line and this is your only shot to win the game, you got to do it.
It was a 42-yard attempt that he was trying that he missed, right?
I don't remember what it was. I just shot 42 out because that's the first number that came to my head. But even if it was a 45-yard attempt, we'll just say, right?
Let me see if I could find the exact distance, because that would also explain why it was low. And that's what I think people are like choosing to ignore. Like it had to be low in order for it to even like get there. So the missed field goal was field goal 52. That's the one he made. Oh, this is only showing the scoring drives. This isn't showing how long it was that he missed. Damn it, I wish I knew exactly what the attempt was. I think it had to be low. Oh, they said 48. Someone said 41 to 42. But here's my thing. You watch Jake Moody and all of his kicks do this. And they go inside. The ones that he makes are towards the right goalpost. So I understand you saying it was going left, but all of his balls curve back to the right. I just don't know that was going to be a missed ball because they all just curve that way. They all curve that way. So I'm just not 100% sure that was why, or it was gonna be wide left or pulled to the left. But I don't know. I'm not overly concerned. Now I will say this. I think that ball being tipped and blocked helped with his confidence for the one that we needed at the end. Because we've seen this kid Moody miss one that wasn't blocked, and then he just goes into a shell. He'll miss 2 in that game. You know what I'm saying? He didn't miss anything else after that. And had he actually pulled that to the left, there's no telling what would have happened for the second attempt. You know what I'm saying? And the Niners aren't going to stop attempting kicks. So do you think that we were aided? Let's say your projection was right from behind. It was going to go wide left anyway. Excuse me. Do you think that maybe that helped his confidence for the one that we needed him to make?
I don't
Sounds
know,
crazy,
Mike.
right? Like, oh, the block kick helped him out mentally. But if he had just missed it, then it would have been in his head all game, and then there's no telling what would have happened. But it got tipped. So what do you think?
I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about him right now. Right for the playoffs right now. I'm just not. I've seen too much. I've seen the inconsistency. And, some kickers, that's how they kick. I never recall Robbie Gould when he kicks it, the ball moving. Good kickers, their ball don't move. It just goes up and it goes in.
Oh, you better cut that out.
Huh?
You better cut that out. We've seen Robbie Gould purposely have his balls like curve around the defenders in the middle. Robbie Gould was good. Like he
well, no, like if he wanted to spin it off the kick, that's fine. But when this guy kicks it, it goes up and then it fucking moves this way. I don't like that. You have a job to place that ball. Your goal should be every time splitting those uprights, dead center. That's where your target should be, right? It's like when I shoot, I'm shooting at the cue to hit the cue. I'm not shooting at the outside of the silhouette to hit the cue. You know what I'm saying?
Are you telling me that
shooting
you're
at
not
the cue
Angelina
and hitting
Jolie?
the outside of the silhouette?
You're not Angelina Jolie. You can't make your bullet bend around the room, bro.
Nah.
You got to
No,
step your game
sir.
up.
No, sir.
I'm kidding. Overall, I still have confidence in Moody. I know that it sounds crazy to say. Looking at his last 5 games or so, he's got a couple of misses in there, but as long as it goes in, I'm okay. Barely in is still in. I've seen some go over the top of the upright, the very top of the pole, and it still counts as in. In is in to me. I'll take it. I don't need them to be perfect and right down the middle. Make sure they don't get blocked. Do whatever you got to do and get them in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, get them in there and make sure they score. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
JP had his baby girl. Congratulations, man.
Congrats.
Congratulations on the baby girl, man. A little round of applause for that. Let's go. JP called me today. I was in the middle of a meeting. And I forgot to call him back. Don't hold it against me, bro. I forgot to call back, man. It's been a hectic day. I I don't want to get too much into the Lions game. We can take a peek forward. I don't know if you're going to be around on Thursday for the game preview show. But if you want to get into it, we can but I would like us to get to the final two drives of the 49ers, the offensive drive and the defensive drive.
All right, that's fine.
All right. So the final offensive drive. Brock Purdy shook whatever was bothering him off. For the people that was there, was it raining during the 49ers last drive? I would love to know that. I would love to know if the rain was still coming down during the last drive, because on TV, you can't really tell until they show something in slow motion, and I was too busy celebrating after the final offensive drive. Do you recall if it was raining still, Tony, on the last drive?
I don't remember. I don't. My anxiety was through the roof. I was going absolutely nuts. I don't remember.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's talk now about the final drives, man. The 49ers go out and they march right down the field. Brock Purdy was 6-7, should have been perfect, but Kittle had a uncharacteristic drop with nobody on him. What were your thoughts on the final offensive drive?
The final offensive drive, I was impressed with, because as bad as they played that whole game and how messed up and out of rhythm and out of timing it was, they still came back and did what they need to do. Right. I think he was, I don't remember off the top of my head. I texted to you. He was 6-7 for 41 yards on that final drive. And I think he finished with 11 rushing yards. That's just as efficient. That's probably just as efficient as you could be, other than being perfect. He hit all the routes when nothing was there. He made a play with his legs. He kept the offense was moving. It didn't look. That was the one part, that one drive where it looked like 49er football.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
Now,
and capped off with a really good run. But never mind. Go ahead.
My question is, why did it have to wait to that for the light bulb to fall?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that them saying, okay, it took us 3.5 quarters to get our head out of our ass and get into a rhythm? Maybe it did, Mike. Maybe it did. It took Baltimore 2.5 quarters to get their heads out of their ass, and they only had 1 week off.
Right.
Where the Niners had what, 18 days? You said 19 days? They had 19 days, so it took them halfway through the fourth quarter, 3.5 quarters to get their heads out of their ass and do their thing. It is. I mean, it is what it is. They, it sucked that I had to wait to that or get to that, but it is what it is.
So, which throw on that final drive were you more impressed with? So Kittle drops the second down, 2nd and 5. He drops the one that would have been easily a first down. He probably had a lot of room to run afterwards. Now it's 3rd and 5. And that defense is ramped up. They know they're coming. We know they're coming. And Purdy throws this low ball across the middle of the field to Ayuk. It was so low, in fact, the concentration by Ayuk, first of all, A+. The placement by Purdy, A+, with the defender right on Ayuk's back. He gets low. Ball never touches the ground. They showed it from so many angles. It felt like in that moment the world wanted that ball to have hit the ground. And I'm sitting here like, yo, we're the home team. Stop showing this damn replay, because I don't want New York buzzing in saying, you got to look at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want that to be the situation. So that's one. The other one was the sideline throw on the right sideline to Conley. Which throw were you more impressed with? Or were they equally as impressive?
What was the first one?
The first one was the Ayuk one across the middle on 3rd and 5 after Kittle dropped the 2nd and 5. All right.
I mean, they were both impressive throws, but I think the Ayuk one was a little bit harder of a throw, because it seemed like it was in a lot tighter window for him to make that throw with DB over his back. Where I think Connolly's throw was a great route and a great concept. and he dropped it right into the bucket, right at that sideline, so he get his 2 feet down and get in.
Right.
Now, the touchdown throw, I think, was a phenomenal throw.
But that wasn't on the last drive, was it? I thought
No, that was early. But
Okay.
that throw that he made on that touchdown where he just dropped it right into Kittle's hands, that was a hell of a throw by him. And that was earlier in the game.
Yeah. I think the more impressive throw, in my opinion, not that the Conley one wasn't good. It was phenomenal ball placement, good timing, good rhythm. And by the way, Conley having to step up because they were like, hey, McLeod, you're not getting another shot at this. Right?
And to tell you the truth, I'm glad you just say that. I'd rather roll with Conley than McLeod in that situation. You want to bring McLeod in and run a jet sweep? You want to run a jet sweep with McLeod? I'm good with that. That's that type of guy, so he can take a jet sweep. But if Debo's not going to play in this game, and I'm going to tell you this as far as Debo, if he can't go 100%, don't play him. I don't want him running around out there as a decoy. People aren't stupid.
Oh, shit.
They will take shots at him. I'm telling you, this team will take shots at him if he's on that field. So he's got to be 100%. I want him, if he's going to be on that field, he's got to do his runs. He's got to run his pass routes. He's got to do everything like if he was 100%. That's just me, because I feel, God forbid, if it reactivates and he gets out again, that's one less receiver we have active. So now what are we grabbing at? Ray Armstrong, Jennings, Connolly. If he can't go, bring somebody else up. Get an extra body in there.
And you got to remember that practice squads are officially released now, so we can sign any free agent wide receiver also. But my thing is this. I'm going to disagree with you on this. If Debo's not 100%, I still want him out there on the field. Debo in a decoy role, and we've seen it this year, the team still puts up over 30, even as a decoy, because teams don't know. They have to be conscious of where Debo is at all times. And that has, to me, more of a value than a 100% Conley out there, or a 100% Ronnie Bell, who's in the doghouse, or a 100% Womack, not Womack. Wow, listen to me. 100% McLeod, who's now in the doghouse, right? Like the man house. I want to stop calling it the doghouse. Like Kyle wants his people to grow up, right? But I think that Debo out there has a role, even if he's not ready to play. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. What say you to that?
No, you're right. We've seen them do that.
And
it's just, I don't know. I want to win the Super Bowl, Mike. That's all I want. I just want to win the fucking Super Bowl.
Well, and that's what my next point was going to be. Let's say he goes out there and he is a decoy role, right? Let's just say he has 2 receptions for 17 yards, 1 carry for 12 yards, right? But he's the motion guy. He's got their defense spinning and moving all over the place and all that, and he's opening up stuff across the middle for other guys. Let's say he does get a little banged up, but we win the game. He's got 2 weeks now to heal up. That's why I say if he can get out there, there is no promise of tomorrow after this game. To me, it's all hands on deck. And,
no, it's true. You're right. You're right with that.
And it's got to be the best game plan too. The best.
What I don't like, the one thing that's making me hesitant about this is the whole Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing. I think he's going to look to get him. I think he's going to. I think he'll take a cheap shot on Debo.
Let's go for it.
But I don't want to risk Debo getting hurt, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these two are beefing and stuff. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has a rep to be a grimy player
sometimes when he wants to be.
But I don't know. I don't know, man. I just want to win. That's all.
So do you think we have a better shot at winning with Debo in the decoy role, or those other guys out there 100%? It's definitely with Debo as a decoy role, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, what? I mean, does it get to the point where they just ignore him, knowing that he's banged?
Not if you hit him on the second drive. Don't give him the ball in the first drive. If Debo's not 100%, I don't want to see him get a target or a touch on the first opening drive. I would like to see a scripted play or scripted series with Debo on the field, not getting a single touch. Make them think, oh, man, he's hurt. They're not going to use him. And then on the second drive, You get him involved a little bit, whether it's successful or not. Now it's like, oh, we do have to plan for him, and then you get back to
put this up real quick. SD at 9:12 p.m. It's 100% true.
Oh yes, absolutely, 1,000% SD. Phenomenal comment right here. Phenomenal comment. I'm dropping a bomb on that one. That is a phenomenal. No, I'm going to do the air horn. That is a phenomenal comment right here. Put Juwan Jennings on Gardner Johnson, and I'm telling you now, Jennings will get Gardner Johnson kicked out of the game. Absolutely. 100%. Players that play with high emotions defensively are the ones that you want Juwan Jennings out there frustrating. Juwan Jennings is the guy that'll literally take a slap to the helmet for the team and get the flags drawn. You know what I'm saying? That is 100%. And now what happens is you get the flag early. Now he's got to play soft the rest of the game. So you immediately check that guy with the attitude in the secondary. You immediately check it. I see it's a win-win for us. It's a win-win for us, man. I absolutely love that. Juwan Jennings is the man. And let me tell you, Tony, you said it when we were missing him those couple of weeks. And I was like, yeah, but I think we're okay. His presence was missed.
Yeah.
His presence was missed while he was away, and his presence was felt as soon as he came back. Did you see? Do you watch Good Morning Football?
No.
Oh, so they do this thing called Angry Runs. It's the Kyle Brandt section. And every week
I heard about that. He sends them like the scepter or something.
Yeah, he awards the most physical run to like a scepter. And it's a thing now. Like they buy them, they ship it out to them. The players take pictures with it in the locker room and all that stuff. And like they get to keep it and all that. Juwan Jennings received the scepter this week, and it wasn't for a play that he had the ball on. Tony, you know what play it was?
When he put the guy into the
Gatorade stands. Yes, yes. Like you do that to CGJ, like it's over for him, bro. Yeah. It's over for him. That's what you want to see. That is selling out for your team and playing the role that you were assigned. That is team mentality at its finest. Juwan Jennings is a phenomenal team player. If you give him nothing else, that's what he's really, really good at. If you give him, I think he's great in the clutch. I think he's a great third down guy. Forget third down. I think he's a great possession receiver for the 49ers. I don't care. It just happens to be on third down because everyone's going to focus on Ayuk, Kittle, and Debo, right? Like that's kind of where he got his niche. That's why, oh God, what's the guy whose name, not Quentin Patton, it was after Quentin Patton. He went to the Patriots. Bourne.
Kendrick.
That's where Kendrick Bourne made his bones also, right? Kendrick Bourne, it was Kendrick Bourne. Before him, it was Trent Taylor. Before him, it was Quentin Patton. Now, Quentin Patton I don't think he was here with Kyle Shanahan, but those guys were on a team with such good other receivers that as third down guys, they just got the looks, they converted, and everyone saw them as our possession wide receivers. It's not a coincidence that third and Juwan became a thing, because you could have said the same thing about third and Bourne, but no one said it. You know what I mean? It came out for Juwan for some reason. And so it was a beautiful thing. These guys, the third and fourth receivers for the 49ers are always, I'm not going to say always, they're usually the ones with the favorable matchups, and they can go out there and get it. So I really, really like that. All right. We talked a little bit about the final offensive drive. Was there anything else you wanted to point out about that drive, man? The final offensive drive.
Just the fact that how they it just looked like them. Like it looked like the 49ers that got them to this point in the playoffs. Like, and how it just like that. So that's why I'm not really 100% concerned coming into this game as far as like, are they going to shit the bed again? I don't think this team will shit the bed again. I don't think I could ever see this team really shit the bed 2 games in a row. And, there was a game like this previously, and it was versus the Cleveland Browns in the rain, where Brock did pretty much the same thing. put him down the field and giving him an opportunity to win the game, but Moody missed the field goal. So it's not like, this was never done before. And I know all these freaking sports talk co-host and host and whatever these people are, all they do is continue to knock this kid and knock the 49ers and call them fake and call them the worst team in the playoffs. And I'm not going to get into statistic things, but when you have guys, 4 offensive weapons, that all have 1,000 yards from the line of scrimmage in one season, and you have 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards physically catching, receiving, tight end and a receiver. This kid's not a fluke. People have bad games, right? It happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's magnified for this kid because he was the last pick in the draft. Well, I got news for you. Brady was picked around earlier. It happens. Every now and then the gems come around, and it happens. Is he the Is he the Josh Allen of the NFL or Mahomes with the cannon arms and they can run quick and shit like that? No, he's not. But in my opinion, with the production that was the production that this offense put up as far as statistics from the skill positions, it shows that you don't need that. And the way this roster's built, you can't afford to have that. So with that being said, I'm glad. Brock, keep being you. Just correct your little errors. It's not going to rain Sunday. It's going to be a sunny day, 60 degrees from what I heard. And we're going to see the 49ers play their game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man.
I love how they bounced back at that point in the game. When they knew this shit, when they knew their backs against the wall, they knew what to do. And that just shows you the experience end of it.
All right. So I want to talk about the defensive play on the final drive. And then we're going to go all the way back to another play from the third quarter. But the defensive play on their final drive. So we go out there, we get the score. The Niners are up by 3. Packers only need field goal range, and our defense comes out there. And we all remember how it ended. They flush Jordan Love out the pocket. He scrambles to his right. He throws across his body to the left towards the middle of the field, back inside the hashes, and there's the Dre Greenlaw pick. Tony, what stood out to you about the defensive stand, if anything at all?
This game-sealing pick?
That whole defensive drive, yeah.
I think I think the same thing as the offense. They woke up and rose to the occasion. That's what I think.
I think our defense was pretty awake. In the red zone, Packers couldn't do anything.
Yes, but my thing, remember how we talked and we said the first team that has to go unbalanced to win the game is going to lose or one-dimensional. And that's what happens. That's what happened, right? Everyone talked up this kid Love. Honestly, I'll be honest with you, he's impressive. I'm not going to lie. The kid's impressive. Is he perfect the way they're talking him up? No, he's not perfect. He has a ton of flaws.
Oh, my
Footwork
God.
being the number one thing. But
Bingo.
Bingo. He's a talented kid. And if you look at the guy who he sat behind from, he kind of looks like him when he does that drop back throw off his back foot. But we're not talking about that. I'm not here to knock him. I think he's a talented kid. I think he will be a very successful quarterback at this level. And I do think we will, be seeing him in the playoffs, which is fine.
Jordan Love is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL right now.
No, he's good, Mike. You can't say he's not good.
I didn't say he's not good. I would never say that. I said he's the most overrated. And what I mean by that is this. They praise this kid for the things that he does well. The off-platform throws, his arm angles and things like that. He's got good arm strength, right? All of that is fine. But when you watch any Jordan Love highlight reel, just put on highlights where it's going to show all of his positive passes and runs and scrambles. I'm going to throw out a percentage. It might be higher. 75% of his highlight throws are off platform. He's off his back foot. He's falling to the side. He's falling backwards and all that. And I'm here to tell you guys this right now. I get it. He's been in the league for a long time. This was his rookie year. Teams are going to hone in on the fact that he throws off balance a lot, and they're going to make him pay for that later on. So when I say overrated, what I mean is the league is going to catch up to him. That's what I mean by overrated, right? I'll relate it to a 49ers quarterback if you guys want. Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, you couldn't tell me he wasn't going to lead the 49ers to the promised land. We weren't going to win multiple Super Bowls from him, right? And once the league had a year's worth of film on him, they caught up to him and used all of his tendencies and deficiencies against him. I am willing to bet really good money the league turns Love into a Colin Kaepernick type guy if he doesn't learn to throw at the bottom of his drop with a solid base. If he doesn't learn to widen his stance and throw the ball on time and in rhythm, he is going to soon be one of the most hated guys in the NFL. He had a good year. Not taking anything away from him. They exceeded expectations, but that's also why I'm calling them overrated. They snuck into the playoffs. They need a lot of things to go their way. They got it. They made it there. You get to the playoffs, and then you beat the number 2 seed. But let's be honest. Who'd they play? I'm sorry. They beat the number 3 seed. No. Cowboys or who was number 2? No, it was the number 3 seed, right? The Cowboys were the 3rd seed. The Lions were number 2.
Yes.
Bro, it was the Cowboys. It was the Cowboys. Let's be real. Like, come on. Like, let's be honest. When I say no, they're right because they were the 7th seed. They were the 7th seed.
Was the 7th seed. The Cowboys were the 2 seed. The Rams were the 6th seed.
And the Packers were the 7th seed. Yeah.
Who's the 3rd seed?
The
Cowboys.
Cowboys were 2. Lions were 3 because we all had 12 and 5.
Yeah,
and
right.
Then the 4th seed was Tampa Bay. So they beat the number 2 seed, right? But it's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys in the postseason. Let's be very clear with what we're talking about. I think if that game happened in Dallas during the regular season, Packers get blown out. But the pressure of the Cowboys and the expectations and all that stuff from them in the postseason, that was a typical Cowboys postseason game. I'm sorry, not sorry. Now, you look at them going in there and taking care of business, cool, good for them. And they routed the Cowboys. That final score was not indicative of how dominant of a performance that Packers offense and defense, because they got, 1 or 2 pick sixes in that game. Like, that was a very good game for them. And that's why they were the hottest team. But that's also why I say they're the most overrated, because, come on, it was the Cowboys in the postseason. Jordan Love isn't as polished as the way they're praising him to be. He isn't as consistent as the way they're praising him to be. I'm not saying he's not good, and I'm not saying he can't improve. But if he keeps doing this off-platform, off-schedule, across-the-body bullshit, a lot of his games are going to look the way that this game looked, and he's going to cost that team more wins than he should. That's what I'm trying to say. So when I say overrated, it's looking at how he plays and recognizing early it's not sustainable. All that praise for Jordan Love, it's gone. Just wait till next year. Just wait till next year. Back to the defensive final drive. Do you think Dre Greenlaw got yelled at after his interception and he got back to the sideline?
Do I think he got yelled at? Absolutely.
How phenomenal was it that Dre Greenlaw went all season with no interceptions, and then in the most important game of the year, he comes out with 2?
He made,
come on.
That second interception, he made a phenomenal play. I'm sorry. That was a great play.
Yes, it was a phenomenal play, man. And it all starts up front. That was probably Bosa's cleanest pass rush the whole game. He flushed Love out almost immediately. That's why Love had to scramble to the right so fast.
And that was what I was talking about. The first team that becomes one-dimensional loses the game. And you saw why.
Absolutely. All right. So phenomenal defensive stance from the 49ers, phenomenal offensive stance for drive for them, the prior possession. But I want to talk about the play that almost didn't happen. I got the all 22 film pulled up here. I'm going to say it again for the YouTube community. Do not flag us. Please don't. This is from the all 22. Oh, wrong one. My bad. I put the wrong background up. There it is behind us now. This is from the all 22. The drive, the touchdown play that almost didn't happen. You know what I'm talking about, Tony?
Mm-hmm. His high IQ.
Bro, this play was absolutely phenomenal. Brock Purdy is out here. Look at this, guys. This is, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh man. I wish this had audio. And actually, no, I don't, because if it had audio, we'd get flagged. So you know what? I'm going to put it in slow motion too. Where's the slow motion at? Let's slow it down just a little bit. We won't do half speed. We'll do quarter speed, 75%. Oh, they don't show it. They don't show the motion. Hold on.
You can rewind it, can't you?
I don't think they show the motion. Let's see. Here we go. So right there. That was the key moment here. The play clock is winding down. They snapped the ball with zeros on the clock. So when I hit play, you guys are going to see Purdy looking to his right. He's yelling at the tight end, "No, stay." Meanwhile, you had Juice telling the tight end, "You're supposed to go over there. You're supposed to go that way." Juice was telling him, "You got to get to the left side of the offense." Purdy says, "No, stay there." He literally yells, "No, stay there." But they don't show Juice. Let me see if I can pause it. Look. There's Juice. You can see Juice's arm out right there. He's telling him, "You got to get to the left." But if you look at Purdy's saying, "No, you got to stay there." And Warner stops. "Oh, okay, stay." And they got to set and snap. You had to use one more second. That's why there were zeros on the actual clock. And it's the biggest play of the game. Biggest play of the game, because this was from far away. This is what made it a one-score game for the 49ers going in. We were down to score still. Let me be clear.
Right there.
Yep. That was it right there. Beautiful. That was it right there. You see him tell him, "No, stay there." Beautiful. Brock Purdy isn't going to get the credit for this play that he deserves. And I know other sites have been highlighting it. You could see Juszczyk's face right now, looking directly at the linebacker who was looking at him, saying, "You're supposed to be over there." Purdy's look. They're pointing in opposite directions. Who you listen to? You listen to Mr. Harvard or you listen to Mr. Quarterback? And let me tell you, fucking Warner made the right decision, because if he goes in motion, we got to burn a timeout. We have to use the timeout right here if he goes in motion, because there's no chance in hell he gets to the other side and set, and you got to wait a second after you're set before they can snap the ball. There's no way it happens. There's probably about 2 seconds on the clock right now. He says, "No, stay. Get your ass back over there. Set, snap, touchdown." Woo! Let's go, Ayuk. Let's go, baby. I love it. Tony, this play almost didn't happen. Tell me why this play was important. Tell me why Purdy deserves credit for that play.
Because he has the situational awareness and high football IQ to see it, and knows that clock's about to go to 00, and if he moves, he can't snap the ball because he's not set, and that would have been a penalty. So he said, "Don't move, set, go." Boom, and he handed it off, and it was good.
And Nigel,
he is not a game manager.
Wait.
Saying that.
No, I see, and I did. This play was perfect game management. I think this is game manager Purdy. Now, Nigel's saying it like and they keep calling him only a game manager, right? Like Nigel's trying to give him his props, like he's more than a game manager. But let me tell you, This was managing the game, knowing the down situation, the play clock off. Purdy had all of that happening in his head at this exact moment. And he knew him being over there wasn't going to cost us anything. It's just an extra blocker. We're running that way anyway. Let him go. Let him stay. Let him stay. So that, to me, was a game manager moment. But if you're just a player, if you're just a pure athlete, you're not thinking about these things. But Purdy is so cerebral, he's so mentally sound that this was the perfect game manager moment. This was Alex Smith in his prime, right here. This was knowing everybody's assignment on the field at that moment before you snap the ball, knowing how much time you had left. This was literally managing the game. I don't think it's a knock to call Brock Purdy a manager in this situation right here. That was a phenomenal play right there. I got hyped when I was like, what is happening? They're fucking it up. Oh, it's a touchdown. Like, they were what a like moment in the game right there.
Yeah.
Jerry says it's not a game manager. It's a pocket QB, old school QB. What say you, Tony?
I could see that. That's the way they used to be. They used to control, they used to be the field general, right? I mean, Steve Young, how many times he's yelling at Jerry Rice or Terrell Owens or JJ Stokes or Ty Streets, get over there, screaming, yelling, pointing. I mean, you know what? You're playing the most crucial position on the offensive side of the ball. You have to be that way. You have to be that leader. Now, I just don't like the game manager label, because I know what their intent is by saying that, and Brock Purdy's not. But if you want to say he is good at managing the offense on the field, I'm good with that, because he knows everything. He knows where everyone's supposed to be. He's that far advanced. He scored the highest on that it was the Wonderlic test, but it's got a new name now, and he actually scored the highest out of the quarterbacks, or maybe top 2 out of the quarterbacks. And that's what you want, right? That's what you want. You want your quarterback to know everything. And his IQ, he knew if he didn't stop him, that's a penalty.
Right.
And that don't happen. So the awareness, the situational awareness, I love it. And, it is what it is.
Supervision. I like this. You want to call him a game manager, call him a field general. I like that a lot. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe that needs to be our rally cry right there, Tony. Field General Purdy. Maybe that's it. Tim, you might be onto something right there. You might be onto something. And everyone wanted to talk about the checkdowns and all that. Did you see the stat that went out about people with plays at or behind the line of scrimmage?
No.
Purdy had 4. That's it. The lowest of all the quarterbacks in the game this weekend of the divisional round. The lowest amount of pass attempts at or behind the line of scrimmage. Only 4. They were talking about, oh, Josh Allen did this, Josh Allen did that, and all that. He had 14 at or behind the line of scrimmage, Tony. 14. They got to put some respect on Purdy's name. We got to make him do it. Field General Purdy it is. I don't want to get into the Lions too much, but I do want to do one quick exercise. I'm going to go through the Lions' entire regular season. And what I want you to tell me, to stop. I'm going to go backwards. So the Lions are our next opponent. I'm going to go from the Buccaneers and go backwards. And I want you to tell me to stop when you think I'm at a team that has a comparable run game to the 49ers. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Going backwards. Buccaneers. Rams.
White is impressive, but I don't think they run that scheme. Go ahead.
Vikings. Cowboys. Vikings again. Broncos. Bears. Saints. Packers.
Packers, yes.
You think the Packers have a run game comparable to the 49ers?
Are you saying scheme, like schematic wise? Yes.
No, I'm talking about as effective as the 49ers.
I think. Well, I mean, Aaron Jones missed some games, so I don't know if he was playing in that game. But if Aaron Jones was healthy, I would say yeah. I think they're. I
Aaron
think Aaron
Jones did not
Jones.
play in that game. They had AJ
Okay,
Dillon.
no.
So let me see about the other one though. There was 2 Packers games. The other Packers game was week 3.
Yeah, he was playing. He wasn't hurt in the beginning of the year, I don't think.
He had 5 carries for 18 yards.
So he might have gotten hurt in that game.
Maybe. All right. So Packers, we know that was AJ Dillon. Bears again. Chargers. Raiders.
Was Eckler playing?
Austin Eckler had 19 carries for 67 yards.
What about catching? Well, you're just saying the run game.
No, it's all right. I got the numbers right here. As far as a receiver, Eckler caught 4 passes, 48. So he was over 100 yards that game in total. He was over 100 scrimmage yards.
I would say him. He's a McCaffrey type, like same skill set.
Okay, still over 100 scrimmage yards. Okay, who was that? Who were we talking about just then? Oh, Chargers, Ravens. No, okay.
Who? I'm sorry. You froze
Ravens.
for a second. Ravens.
I'm sorry, the Ravens. I think the Ravens' run game, when you include Lamar, is as effective.
But are we including the quarterback?
I mean, I want to know. So the Niners were top 3 in rushing this year per game. Do you think that any of these teams are comparable as far as rushing components?
No.
Oh,
no.
Well, then.
Okay. The Chargers, the Packers with Aaron Jones if he was healthy. But the problem is this, right? If you're doing you're just keying in on the run game specifically, not a player. You would have to say the 49ers because our run game consists of McCaffrey, Mitchell, Debo. You're like, you know what I'm saying? We're more dynamic and more in depth with our run game. So no, the answer would be no, because I mean the only one would be, I think, would be the guy from the Chargers, Eckler. I think you would have to consider the Ravens because you're going to put in Lamar Jackson, and they have like a 3-headed horse over there with their run game. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think the Vikings had a good run game because Cook wasn't there, and they were going with that Madison guy, and he got hurt. So
the 49ers finished the season 4th in rushing yards per game with 138.9. Let's just call it 139 for rounding.
Yeah.
Ahead of them were only 3 teams. The Cardinals at 139.1, the Bears at 141.1, and then Baltimore at 160. Now, if you look for just those 3 opponents on the Lions schedule, when they played the Ravens, they lost that game 38-6. Let me see if they played Chicago and what the scores were. I know we played them. They played them twice. Let me see if they played Arizona. In Chicago, they played the Bears towards the end of the season twice. Oh no, that was the Vikings. The Bears, they lost that game also 28-13. And then the next one, the Bears put up 26, but the Bears lost 31-26. So those teams both put up points on them. And I don't see the Cardinals on their schedule for the year. I don't think that they played a team as well balanced as the 49ers other than the Ravens this year. And the Ravens smoked them 38-6. That's all I'm going to say right now. That's all I'm going to say. If you have anything you want to add to it, then I'll give you the floor.
No, I mean, there's really not much to add. I mean, it's the Niners have a great run game, and it's not only McCaffrey just because McCaffrey. It's also the scheme, the design, and how they run. They attack you with the run game in so many different ways and angles and movements and techniques and blocking. It's tough to really stop. And like, just a little tidbit going into the Detroit game, because I don't know if I'm going to be around on Thursday because I got to work. But I just feel watching Detroit versus Tampa Bay, their running back got some big chunk yards. Big chunk yards, White, number one. He's a good running back. He's fast. He showed to have decent vision and hitting the holes at the right time. I just feel Kyle could have potentially a field day with the run game versus this team because of how he runs the ball, right? It's not your typical line up in an I formation, run downhill. It's not your toss sweep. There's so much creativity to it and illusion to it. It's tough. And watching that game, their two linebackers, which Alex Anzalone, good linebacker, nothing against him. I think he's a great linebacker. And they drafted the kid from Iowa. I'm drawing a blank on his last name.
Laporta.
Another good – who?
Laporta?
No, linebacker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Campbell. I think Jack Campbell, another linebacker from Iowa. Those two guys are great. I mean, they're playing great football, but I saw it so many times. They pin their ears and they fly downhill. Now, what does Kyle do best? He uses the defensive aggression against them.
Yes,
that's not good. Now, I'm saying this now, and I'm saying this based off of observation of what I saw in that game. You know, things change, right? They could do different things. They can come out with different looks. They could tell them to play less aggressive and try to trick the 49ers. And when they attack the middle of the field, try to make a play on a ball and try to get a pick quick.
It's Jack Campbell, by the way, who went to Iowa.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just see opportunities. And the one thing that's scaring me is not – I think Hutchinson's a phenomenal player. But if I ask you right now who's a more dominant player, Aaron Donald or Sam I forgot his first name, but Hutchinson. Who's a more dominant player right now?
This year, Aiden Hutchinson.
Well, I'm saying like in their careers. Like Kyle has shown to stop dominant players with this scheme.
Yes,
right?
he does.
But I noticed another thing with them. They love blitzing off the slot. Whether it's their safeties or their corners, they double blitz off the slot, and they do it like it's nothing. Now, what we were talking about in our group chat is this is the first time in a little stretch where Kyle Shanahan is facing an opponent with zero ties to his system or his philosophy.
Now, what do you mean by that for the people listening? Because we explained it in the chat, but
when I say zero ties, they've never worked with Kyle in the past. They don't know Kyle's ins and outs. They know the base scheme of what they see on tape. But like LaFleur, right? I will put money on it saying LaFleur was hands-on with Joe Barry with the scheme to play the Niners last week. And I know Kyle was probably hands-on with Steve Wilkes with a scheme to play the Packers. It's not going to be that way. Now, why am I saying this? Is because in those two situations, Kyle could switch to the defensive coordinator and say, listen, if you see him motion right like that again, it was a run this time. He's coming with a pass in the middle of the field. He's setting something up there. I know it. I taught him that. This is what's coming. And it's something stupid. Like you're probably saying like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it happens. Don't think it don't happen. It happens. So the other factor is the experience level of the coaching staff, right? Dan Campbell. Yeah. Dan Campbell's an excellent leader of men. X and O's, I don't think he can match with Kyle Shanahan, my opinion. And it's not a knock against him. It's not. I just feel Kyle Shanahan is like light years ahead of a lot of these coaches in this league as far as schematics with offense and defense. Because don't forget, Kyle came up through the ranks as a defensive quality control coach under Gruden. So he knows both sides of the ball. And it's proven that he actually helped Wilkes with getting up to date and caught up with the scheme of the 49ers when they hired him. So with that being said, I just like the matchup versus our staff versus their staff. The inexperience of Green Bay staff. This is your second-year play caller for, I think, second or third-year play caller for Aaron Glenn on the defensive side of the ball. and Johnson on the offensive side of the ball, who's being rumored for head coaching spots. Actually, both of them are. So congratulations to them. They did a hell of a job. But I just feel Detroit is a dangerous team. They're playing with house money. Their backs are against the wall. They have nothing to lose. They won 2 consecutive playoff games, 2 of them both in their house. So the question to me is, did they pass their Super Bowl? Did they hit their stride or hit their accomplishment for this season, right? I don't know if they came into the season with Super Bowl expectations. I don't know that. That's within that locker room. But to win 2 straight home games, I think, is a major milestone for them, especially that they haven't been in the playoffs since the 90s at home and win 2 consecutive games like that. But, they still are a dangerous team. And I think the Niners are more experienced, if you will, in the playoffs. And
Absolutely.
I think you might see that. And I think you might see that show this weekend. And that's what I'm hoping on, because if they show their experience and they show, we've been here before, this is us, we know what to do. And it's not a knock against Detroit. Next year, they could be as dominant as the 49ers. We don't know. But experience is experience. And that's part of the reason why the 49ers won last week and Green Bay did not, because Love don't have experience in the playoffs. And that's why when I said once the first team that becomes one-dimensional is going to lose the game, and that's why Green Bay lost the game, because the Niners made a play in a key situation, experience, and they went right down the field, they scored, and then they stopped them again.
Yeah.
What another interception.
Yep. Yeah. I like it. Avtar says here, Mike, since we don't know the Lions, can Kyle call LaFleur to know some tendencies about the Lions? Can he? Yes. But is LaFleur likely to help the person who just knocked him out of the playoffs? That's a different story, right? LaFleur could, honestly, you could field calls from both of these teams. Let me ask you this question, Tony. You as a head coach, do you look better if the team that knocked you out goes to the Super Bowl, or if the team that knocks you out is within your own division? Or not knocked you out, but the team in your division advances further than you? Because LaFleur's got his back against the wall as far as whose call he wants to answer. If that phone rings, and one says Kyle Shanahan, and then the other phone call says Dan Campbell, who are you going to answer and who are you going to help? Which one makes you look better?
He would help Kyle hands down over Dan Campbell. Hands down.
You're saying that because of the relationship?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think he would help Kyle over Dan Campbell hands down. But the hell was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, while you're thinking about it, I want to know how that helps the coach, right? If he helps Kyle, well, the team that knocked us out ended up going to the Super Bowl, so that's why we lost. Like, we lost to a Super Bowl team, right? Versus Dan Campbell calls you, and it's like, yeah, he's in our division. He played our team twice. We helped prepare him for Kyle. Forget the phone call for a second. It's going to look like Campbell benefited from playing us twice this season, and the Vikings, because the Vikings have some Kyle Shanahan disciples there as well, right? Like, so he benefited from playing our teams 4 times in a year versus that. Which one helps Campbell in the eyes of the owners over there in Green Bay? Now, you answered the question based off of relationships and alliances and friendships. I'm asking now from a coaching standpoint, which one are you more likely to pick the phone up for?
He would pick him up. He would pick it up for Kyle. I don't think he would pick up the phone for Dan Campbell. Number one, Dan Campbell finished higher than him in the seeding for the playoffs. And I think, in my honest opinion, that there's only one reason for that, and that comes down to the quarterback position. The experience of Jared Goff over Jordan Love. That's the way I see it. I think Jordan Love's a much more experienced Jordan Love's a more talented quarterback with a not higher skill set. Has a more
it's that experience. It's the pro ready. It's like he's
more. He has a more versatile skill set. He can kill you. He can beat you with your legs. Is what I'm saying. And where Jared Goff is more of a pocket passer, and I just feel that he wouldn't help in division. He would help out of division, and especially for a team that prevented them from winning the NFC North. So I think definitely hands down we'll go to Kyle. Just real quick, Nigel Crane, he's trying to prove something. He said, for what it's worth, Aaron Glenn, assistant DB coach, and Kyle Shanahan, OC, were in Cleveland together back in 2014. Correct. He was under Mike Pettin, and still to this day, Mike Pettin cannot stop Kyle Shanahan. So I'm not worried about that. He was an assistant DB coach. I'm talking about guys that worked hands-on with Kyle, the Mike McDaniels, the LaFleurs, guys like Robert Saleh, guys like
D'Amico
Ryans, guys that been around this system that know the tendencies inside and out. Sean McVay, that's another one. It's a great one, right? There's a lot of those guys running around. Now you're talking about Bobby Slowick getting a job. These are all guys that were brought up under Kyle, developed under Kyle, not just an assistant coach, never mind on the same team, but on the opposite side of the ball. That's what I'm trying to say. These guys know the ins and outs of Kyle Shanahan's offense. I understand Aaron Glenn might have basic knowledge. Okay, well, Kyle likes to attack the middle of the field with his motions and stuff like that. Great, I understand that. But you're talking about apples and oranges here. These are two different levels of knowledge. You have a guy like Dan Quinn who still cannot stop a Kyle Shanahan offense, who has difficulties putting to bed a Kyle Shanahan offense and winning a game. And he was the head coach of a team that he was a coordinator for. So with that being said, I just feel when I said that, it wasn't pertaining to anyone specifically that was on a staff with Kyle. It was more of people that were more hands-on and developed by Kyle. I should have clarified that more. Sorry.
Okay. I like it, man. I like it. I like it a lot, man. Very, very good commentary there by our resident GM, Tony the Tiger over here, man. I like it, man. Any final thoughts, Tony? We've been on for over an hour and a half. The show went a little bit longer than I actually expected it to. But I think this was a solid show, man. I miss doing this, man. I am back to Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tony, I don't care if I got to call you while you're driving, bro. You let me know and I'll make it happen, bro. We'll do this. We can do this. And you've got so much knowledge, so much input, so much insight. I would love to continue to break things down with you for the rest of the season here. Let's get to some final thoughts. We're going to wrap this show up here. We hope you guys have enjoyed the show so far. Please don't leave, but we are at the final thought segment here. Don't leave just yet. Tony, if I asked you this question and you had to bet, I don't know, 2 mortgages on it. Vegas right now has this upcoming game set at over 50 points total. To me, that screams shootout.
Which it could be.
Or it screams one team is dominant in this. Now, I told you the points. Let me tell you what they have as far as favorites and like the spread. Because I don't know what that is. I do know it's set at 50.5. But let's see what they have for the lines here. The Niners, as of today, per Sports Line, are 7-point favorites with the over-under at 51 points. What's more likely to happen here? Excuse me. A 49ers blowout? Thank you. A 49ers blowout or a close game, and I'm saying close because if you take away the 7 points, you take away the 7, that takes it down to 44. That means that the Niners win by, that's 22 and 22. The Niners win 29-22. That's how this site has it set right now. Would you anticipate more of a blowout, a one-sided win, a multiple? Let me not say a blowout. A multiple score win. Some people don't count a 10-point win or a 9-point win as a blowout because we heard all of a sudden Brock Purdy's comeback wasn't a real comeback. So let me repeat what I'm saying.
They just keep moving the goalposts on the board, kid.
Bro, the fucking goalpost left the city. Talk about moving
it's
it like
sad.
it didn't just shift 2 or 3 yards to the left. Like, this shit is going out the city right now. Like,
It's
I've
sad.
never seen anything like this in my entire life, Tony.
You
Like,
know what? I got to be
I
honest
just
with
don't
you.
get it.
Statistically, he's the best quarterback in his league. Statistically. If you look at all his statistics, completion percentage, average yards in the air, average yards passing, average yards reception, average yards this, touchdown, that, this, everything, he's ranked 1. How could you keep knocking this kid?
He's top 5 in everything.
Like, how can you keep knocking him? I'm going to tell you what it is. Everyone is jealous that the 49ers found a franchise quarterback with the last pick in the draft. That's what it is.
Come on now.
That's what it is. There's hate. And it's all started by all these people that sit on ESPN, First Take, this one, that one, talk about it, this one. Like, I just don't get the logic. Like, I was listening to Joy, that girl Joy, pretty girl. She's on one of those shows, Joy Taylor.
Pretty girl.
And she's like,
fucking with you, man.
He don't do this. He don't do. Fuck. What more do you want him to do? Listen, every quarterback has a bad game. Every quarterback. Is Brock Purdy perfect? No. But I want you to do me a favor. Tell me the last time a quarterback had 4 people go for over 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards each from the line of scrimmage. Can you tell me who it was the last time?
1,000 scrimmage yards. 4?
1,000 scrimmage yards. I'll tell you who it was. It was the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning, with Stokely, Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and somebody else. Edgerrin James.
Edgerrin James got to be the running back. Yes.
Actually, no, it wasn't Stokely. I think it was Dallas Clark instead of Stokely. Okay.
And what fucking year was that? We got to be talking 2002, 2003?
I think it was late 90s, early, maybe 2000.
Oh my God. We're talking 20 plus years ago? Are you kidding me?
Actually, I'm sorry. Someone just said it right there. Kurt Warner, I think no. 4.
No, Kurt Warner had 3. The greatest show on turf, that Rams year?
Yeah.
There was only 3 of them that had 1,000 scrimmage yards, I think. Hold on. I'll Google it. I'll Google it while you're talking. The greatest show on turf refers to the St. Louis Rams, 99, 2000, 2001. Damn, they gave me a lot of years to look at. Okay, let me pull up the Rams. I'm going to aim in the middle. I'm going to look up 2000.
Look at Kurt Warner's MVP year.
Rams 2000 stats. Here we go. Pro Football Reference. Here we go. You ready? Player stats here. Okay, Marshall Faulk finished with 1,300 rushing yards. As far as receivers, where's yards? He had Torrey Holt finish with 1,600 yards. He had Isaac Bruce finish with 1,400 yards. The next highest person, goddamn, Torrey Holt finished that season, by the way, with over 2,100 yards. I mean, Marshall Faulk finished with 2,100 yards, bro. This dude had 830 receiving yards and 1,300 rushing yards. God damn. He killed it. All right, anyway. Yeah, he only had 3 guys over 1,000 scrimmage yards because the next highest guy in reception yards was Hakeem, who finished with 734 receiving yards, and he did not have, I'm sorry, rushing yards, he finished with 1. Is that right? That can't be right. Rushing, where is it? I'm lying. He finished with 17. Not close. He didn't have 4. So let's go to the year before. We'll go to the previous season because they said 99. Let's take a look at that. Greatest show on turf again. Player stats here. Okay. Marshall Faulk again with 1,300 and 1,000. Wow. He had 1,000. Shout out to Mark. Why didn't I know Marshall Faulk had 1,000 season?
Yeah, he was the last person to do it.
He's God damn, that's good.
All right, McCaffrey, Marshall Faulk, and then it was Roger Craig.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No. I think LaDainian Tomlinson did it.
Well, that's not part of this, so that's cool. So you have Marshall Faulk with over 1,000 scrimmage yards. You have Isaac Bruce with over 1,000 receiving yards. And you have no one else getting 1,000 total yards. Let me look over here. Rushing is at 44. No, that's not enough to do it. This guy rushing yards, 25, not enough to do it. So no one else on that one. So let me go forward to 2001. Let's see if they had anybody do it here. Here we go. All right. Where are my yards at? Where my yards at? We right here, dog. All right. Marshall Faulk had a down year. Still over 2,000 yards. He had 1,300 rushing and 700 plus receiving. That's another 2,000 yards. Yo, Marshall Faulk was that dude. God damn.
Marshall Faulk was legit, bro.
He had, okay, here we go. We're getting somewhere. All right. Torrey Holt finished with 1,300 receiving yards. Isaac Bruce finished with 1,100 yards. Marshall Faulk finished with 2,000 yards. But there is not another person that finished with 1,000 yards. Nobody. So even the greatest show on turf, Tony, didn't have 4 players with 1,000 plus scrimmage yards. Even the greatest show on turf, they didn't do it. Even they didn't do it, bro.
Yeah.
Even they didn't do it, Tony. They got to put some respect in our quarterbacks. Field General Brock Purdy, bro. Now they got to deal with us. They got to deal with us, Tony. By the way, if you guys go to the YouTube page and click store, we got the shirts right there. They got to deal with us. Rep your set, faithful. Go out there, get the shirts, rock that shit. They got to deal with us.
You got shirts?
First time in a long time. They got to deal with us, baby. They haven't seen this kind of attack in probably ever. I don't see it anywhere. 4 players, 1,000 scrimmage yards. Let's see. Let's just put it into Google and see what we see. All right, here we go. 49ers offense makes NFL history with unprecedented stat. It's never happened before, Tony. It's never happened before.
It's still not good enough.
Oh, yeah. Fucking game manager here, right? Come on, bro.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
He said another site said the 1990 Houston Oilers. I'll look him up. Man, it's fine with me. Let's look him up. 1990. I put 1990 Houston Oilers. All right, let's see what they got here. Houston Oilers have yards. Lorenzo White finished with over 1,000 scrimmage yards. Yeah. Ernest Givens finished with over 1,000 scrimmage yards. Wow. Drew Hill had 1,019 yards. Oh, wow. Oh, here we go. And Hayward Jeffries finished with 1,000 scrimmage yards. Okay, so it is not the first time in NFL history. 1, 2.
Wait, what team did you say?
4. Yeah. The 1990 Houston Oilers. Now, here's why
that's right, because they had a spread offense. That's right.
Here's why
that was with Warren Moon. That was Hayward Jeffries.
Their running back finished the season with 702 rushing yards. However, he had over 300 receiving yards. That puts him at over 1,000.
Who's the running back?
That was him, Lorenzo White.
Lorenzo
702
White, yes.
rushing yards.
No, but it was Lorenzo White. It was Hayward Jeffries.
No, Jeffries wasn't on this. Oh, wait. Hayward Jeffries was a wide receiver. He finished with 1,000 receiving yards. And so did Drew Hill.
Was the other guy Drew Hill?
Yeah. And then Ernest Givens finished with 979 receiving yards, but he also finished with 65 rushing yards. Get this, on 3 attempts. On 3 attempts, bro. on 3 attempts, and that bumped him up over 1,000 scrimmage yards. So that's the first team to do it, the 1990 Houston Oilers. Wow. What a stat. And by the way, you know who their quarterback was, Tony?
Or Moon.
Warren fucking Moon, kid.
Yeah.
And by the way,
that was
they only
the
went
run and shoot. They called that the run and shoot.
They only went 8-7, and they were one and done in the playoffs. We're not them. They got to deal with us, baby. They got to deal with us, baby.
Who was their coach? I think June Jones was the offensive coordinator or the head coach.
Their offensive coordinator was Kevin Gilbride.
That's right, Gilbride.
Their coach was Jack Purdy.
Yeah, it's way before June Jones.
So this is uncharted territory, man. This is uncharted territory. We are not one and done. We are not that 1990 Houston Oilers team. That's not us. They got to deal with us, baby. We in here. Woo! Let's go, baby. Tony, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. I'm telling you right now, we're going to the Super Bowl. Niners are Super Bowl bound this year with bum-ass game manager Brock Purdy. All right, final thoughts. Come on, I'm going to shut up. You finish it off. Go ahead.
Not really. I mean, I just, it's, what is it, Tuesday? We got a long way to go. And of course, we're a late game, which sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. Change it up from last year. We were an early game last year. Now we're going to the late game, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to keep my eyes open on the participation reports for this week, as far as who's in, who's out, who's participating, whether they're limited, meaning Debo
for
Samuel.
Both teams, by the way, for both teams.
For both teams, absolutely.
And for people thinking that they signed Zach Ertz, because the Lions did just sign Zach Ertz. For people thinking that they signed him for Sam Laporta, you guys are wrong. They lost another tight end. So counting Laporta, they only had one other healthy tight end. They lost a guy with an arm injury, and he's out for the rest of the season. So that's why they signed Zach Ertz. It is not to replace Sam Laporta, the young stud rookie tight end. It's not because of him. So I just wanted to put that out there. The forecast is calling for temperatures between 65 and 70 degrees for the 3 hours of the game. I just looked it up by the hour. I want to be very clear what I'm saying. I looked it up by the hour, and at kickoff, which is supposed to be around 6:30, it's supposed to be 70 degrees. The temperature by 9:30, which is 3 hours later, is supposed to be no lower than 59 degrees. That's it. This is perfect. I repeat, This is perfect football weather in sight in the forecast right now. Not a drop.
The field's going to be in great condition. It's going to be dry. It's not going to be wet.
No rain all week. No rain all week.
I think God willing.
What'd you say?
God willing, they return to their form.
If you guys out there want to participate in the show, we won't be clicking any more random comments. It's only super chats now, so here's your last chance. Go ahead and get them out there. I don't care if it's 40 cents. We'll get it up here in the show. We got one super chat right here from Sean Shepard. He says, Tony, what's up? Why is no one talking about the fact that Green Bay D plays a version of our offense all year? Kyle can't adjust after you take his queen, Debo. He's like a pilot that says, we lost 100 feet. Let's slam it to the ground. Uh-oh. Is that a shot at Kyle, Tony?
I don't know. Is it?
I feel like it's a shot at Kyle.
Sean, is that a shot at Kyle? Yes or no? Come on.
I think it's a shot at Kyle.
Let's hear it.
He says it's like a pilot that lost 100 feet. Now, I don't know if you know, but planes fly thousands of feet up in the air. You lose 100 feet, it's not over. But he said, Kyle says, let's slam it to the ground. Come on. That's a shot at Kyle. He lost Debo and the team seemed to be flustered for a little bit. But Sean, we talked about that at the top of the show. He said, yes, that is a shot at Kyle. Here it is right here in his own words. Yes, that's a shot at Kyle. We talked about it. Maybe the 19 days off was a little too much time for Kyle. Maybe the 19 days off was too much time for Brock Purdy. Maybe the 19 days off was too much time for Trent Williams.
Just say the whole team, Mike. Just say the whole team.
The whole
Just say
team,
the whole
yeah,
team.
come on, bro. I mean, even the starters that did play only played 2 series. I mean, what else do you want to see? Maybe the 19 days off was just too much time. Did we overcome? Did we bounce back? Did we get the dub? We did, but damn it scared us. Bo says Debo ain't no diva or ain't a diva. Bo, I kind of disagree. Man. Debo's a little bit of a diva. I'm not going to lie to you. Not saying I don't want him on the team, but he's a fucking diva, bro. He's a diva. Debo was a diva for sure. He is. I've never heard a wide receiver say, I don't study anybody else because they can't do what I do. That is diva mentality. That is diva talk. They asked him, hey, Cooper Kupp just won the Triple Crown. He achieved the Triple Crown this year. Did you take anything away from his game that you could maybe add to yours? No, because he can't do what I do. That's diva. That's diva talk right there. If you have anybody in your league doing what you do that's better than you, you should be looking to take something from them and applying it to your game. And if you're not, that's diva mentality. Well, he can't do what I do, so what? That's diva. That's diva to me. That's Debo to me. His words, not mine. He can't do what I do, so I'm not studying him. My opinion. Does it mean I don't want him on the team? Absolutely not. Never. I'll never utter those words. Never. Tony, man, we got perfect weather for football. We're coming off of a hard-fought game where we were clearly rusty, but we seemed to shake the rust off right there at the end of the fourth quarter. And it looks like the Niners are back, man. Vegas has this as a game that the Niners should win 29-22 for their 51 total points. Niners favored by 7. Y'all do the math. I got it down now. 29-22 according to Vegas. Tony, how do you think this game goes?
I don't know. I got to see. I don't know
Save
yet.
Save it for later. I like that. Leave them hanging, baby. I don't know. We got to see. Leave them hanging, baby.
It's too early. I want to see injury reports, who's up, who's down. I got to see that. It's too early.
My final thoughts. If I don't get a chance to talk to the faithful again, if something unforeseen happens to me, and this is the last thing that you guys hear from me, I want to let you guys know that I love you guys. I apologize for not being the best version of myself throughout the course of this season. This was a trying year for us here at Nothing But Niners. This is the first year I didn't send Christmas gifts to anybody who contributed to Nothing But Niners. It was a down year for us here at Nothing But Niners. I make no qualms about that. I don't want you guys to think that I'm hiding or ducking from the smoke. This was a rough year. Me personally, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, this was a very, very rough year. I thought I was going to be in between jobs and all that. Making no excuses. I'm here and I'm back today in this moment. I apologize. This is going to be called accountability. I am taking accountability for what I did and didn't do on this season. But we are back, baby. We are back. And I don't mean we as the 49ers. Clearly, we never left. 12 wins, we never left. Okay? Number 1 seed locked up in week 17. Didn't need week 18. We never left. Brock Purdy's out there doing his thing. We never left. But us here at Nothing But Niners, we took a little bit of a step back, and I apologize. I apologize because I owe you guys that consistency and that content that you guys crave. We pride ourselves on being one of the originators here on the 49ers YouTube content creator space. We're back, though. Subscribe. Come back. Bring those subscriptions back. Go out there and tell a friend. We're going to give you a reason to talk about us here at Nothing But Niners. And above anything that's going on out there, even if you don't get your content from Hear Us, I want you guys to remain faithful. The Brock Purdy hate, we hear it. We receive it, but we don't respect it. They call him a game manager. We call him a field general. He is calling the shots. He's controlling the team. He's yelling at veterans. He's getting these guys in shape. He is an extension of our head coach, Kyle Shanahan, on the field. We saw Kyle Shanahan having an entire conniption on the sideline. And at the same time, during the same play, we see Brock Purdy yelling at the wide receiver, "What are you doing?" It's not a mistake. It's not a coincidence. These guys are in sync. They're locked in. They are step in step with each other. Whatever Brock does is what Kyle is thinking. And there's no better time for us to all be aligned. The stars are aligning. This is our year. The 49ers are back. This was a rusty game for the 49ers. This was a game that left the faithful scratching their heads for 3.5 quarters. What the hell are we seeing right now? Are we really about to fall to this bum-ass team in Green Bay? We didn't. We overcame. We took a step back. We reflected on the sidelines. We talked to each other. We pointed out our flaws, and we said, fellas, one more drive. We said it on the final offensive possession. One more drive. You give me everything you got, I'll give you everything I got. I will give you my best right here, right now, if you give me your best. And we saw Brandon Ayuk concentrate to bring in that crucial 3rd and 5 reception. We saw Chris Conley, who had to step up in the absence of Deebo Samuel after the benching of a guy like McLeod. And we saw Christian McCaffrey show why we went out there and gave up all those draft picks to acquire him on that final offensive drive. We saw Dre Greenlaw say, hey, I've been injured. I've been out for a little bit. I haven't had any turnovers all year long, but I got y'all right now in this game, in this moment, on the final drive of the defense. I got you. And when it kind of got to him a little bit, when he took it in just a little bit too much and decided to run around and said, well, Fred said we should get a pick 6. All of a sudden, you see guys like Diamador Lenore go down, go down. You see Fred Warner fall down. The game is over. What happened was one player in that moment was selfish for about 3 whole seconds, but those 3 seconds felt like a lifetime. And then he looked around. He listened to his fellow players. He listened to his compadres, and they said, get down. The game is over. And you know what he did? He submitted, and he did what was best for the team. You don't think that bothered people out there? It did. Fred Warner talked about it. But listen to the end of his comments. He said, there's Dre Greenlaw. I was going for the interception, and Dre slid in there like Superman. But then he got negative. Listen to me. He got negative. He's running around, and he's swimming with the ball up in the air all over. Not my word, not my motions. Fred Warner was doing this, meaning that Dre Greenlaw left the ball vulnerable for the Packers. And he said, all I wanted him to do was get down. And Dre Greenlaw did it. He listened, because in that moment, while we were at our highest of highs, we could have been at our lowest of lows if someone from the Packers team came up and punched that ball out. He realized what was better for the team, and he just went down. The Niners are locked in. The Niners are focused. This is the best version of the 49ers we have seen under the Kyle Shanahan regime. We might not have that top defense like we had for the last 3 years under Saleh and D'Amico Ryans. We might not be the number 1 defense, but damn it, number 5 is good enough. We aren't that bottom 10 offense. Right now, we're top 3. They got to deal with us. And that level of balance is all that it takes for us to go out there and secure the win next week in this NFC Championship game on Sunday. In perfect, pristine football playing weather. We sat here and questioned, why won't Kyle go out there and do wet ball drills with the offense? We don't have to worry about that right now. Kyle has another week to shake it off. He has a week to reflect if the weather's going to be bad. But if we get past this week, we're playing in a dome. It doesn't matter. We will be going to Vegas in pristine conditions against either the Baltimore Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs. If this is the last thing you guys ever hear from me, I don't know what's going to happen between now and tomorrow, or now and the NFC Championship game, or between now and the Super Bowl. But if you guys never hear another word from me, what I want you guys to take home is this. Nothing But Niners represented the faithful well. Mike's intentions, Tony's intentions were to educate, discuss, and enjoy all things 49ers. And we were at our lowest of lows, we cried with you guys. When we were at our highest of highs, we celebrated with you guys. And when we were just even keeled, we still managed to bring you guys A+ content. That's what we want to be remembered for. That's what we want you guys to take with you every single day. Enjoy the moments. Football or not, enjoy the moments. JP just had another child. God bless. And cherish that moment. Send them down throughout the generations. Raise them right. That's what we want you guys to do. Remember us for who we are. Faults and all. Faults and all. Some people say I'm too hard on certain players. Some people say Tony goes too hard for coaches and certain players. That's fine. Faults and all. But remember that our intentions were pure. We want nothing but the best for ourselves, our families, and for you guys. We got one more super chat here, and we're going to get out of here. Sin says, and I quote, "I'll be in Vegas watching our Niners take 6. God damn it, man. If that's not a fucking super chat, I don't know what it is. That's all we want. That's all we want. Sin, I don't know when your flight leaves, but I'll be out there Monday. Let's get together. Huh? Let me introduce you to my wife. Let's get together. Drinks on me. Come on now. This is all I'm looking for. The camaraderie. This is not just a football fan base. This is a family. When one hurts, we all hurt. We all hurt. When one bleeds, we all bleed. But let's celebrate together. Let's celebrate together. Guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. I have absolutely nothing else to bring to you guys. Tony, you good? You ready to go?
Yeah, I got to go to bed. I got to work.
You and me both, man. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always
remain faithful.
We'll see you guys next show. Peace.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey. See, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, them nothing but Niners.